Hello everybody. Gary asked me to do a quick, easy recipe on unleavened bread that could be used for Passover and for any time you were observing communion. So I found a recipe online. It's called soft unleavened bread. It has very few ingredients in it and it seems like it would be very easy to make. I'm going to show you as I put it in and tell you what it is, the ingredients I'm putting in. If anyone's interested in the recipe, I will send you the link to the recipe. I found it online, so I'll just send you the link to it. So I'm not going to tell you the measurements on here. I'll just send you a copy of the recipe because actually I'm only making half of what the recipe calls for. You use all-purpose flour, 3/4 cups of milk. Oh, that was 3/4 cups. That's half of what it calls for. Salt and sugar. Actually, it calls for kosher salt, which I don't have, but salt and sugar. Olive oil. And this is going to be real interesting here because the original recipe calls for 3 eggs, so I needed 1.5 eggs. So I'm actually going to mix 2 up and try not to put but 1.5 eggs in here. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work, so it may or may not work. The main reason I did not make the full recipe is because it calls for an 11 by 15 inch pan to put it in, and I don't have an 11 by 15 inch pan. So I'm going to put in 1 and approximately 1/2 eggs. That's all the ingredients it calls for. And you can use, it says you could use a hand mixer or a stand mixer, whatever you got. And the mixer does all the work, and you don't have to knead it, you don't have to lay it out, you don't have to roll it out or anything. So we're going to mix it together. It says to mix it for about 2 minutes. And actually the flour I used was a whole wheat flour. Theirs just called for all-purpose flour, but I used all wheat flour. Didn't take quite as long to mix because there's not as much batter to be used. So hang on just a minute. I'm going to get a spatula. And it calls for, like I said, it calls for an 11 by 15 inch pan, which would be a very shallow pan. So I used the shallowest pan I had, and it's about half that size. So that's why I just cut the recipe in half. And if you're making it just for yourself for communion, you wouldn't want that much anyway. I'm just going to pour it in the pan. Spread it out flat. And it wouldn't have to go all the way to the edges. Just spread it out flat, making it look kind of like a pizza crust would look. You preheat your oven to 450 degrees, and we're going to put it in. And for the big pan, you would bake it about, let's see, it says 20 minutes or until it's just very lightly brown. I'm probably going to do this one for about 15 minutes because I think 20 minutes would probably be too long for the smaller pan. So I'm going to put it in the oven now. And set the timer for 15 minutes. And we'll show you the finished product in just a few minutes. Okay, it's been 15 minutes. I think it should be ready now. I'm going to turn the oven off and the timer off. It's hard to tell when something is light brown when you use wheat flour because it always looks light brown. But it looks pretty good. It's supposed to come out of the pan very easily. We hope it does. So, I don't know. It's a little bit too hot to handle right now. I may have to wait and let it cool down a little bit. And it's not coming out of the pan easily. You may have to let it cool for a little while. But this is what it looks like. This is the finished product. And you can cut it in as big or as small pieces as you would like for your purpose. I hope this helps somebody. I sure do miss everybody, and I can't wait till we all get to be back together in church again. And until we see you again, I'll be in touch with y'all and talking to you. Maybe on Zoom. Gary's going to teach me how to use Zoom so I can look at everybody when I'm talking to them. I helped Silas with a class project today. He had to be on Zoom to talk to his teacher. I about never figured out how to talk to everybody on it, but we finally figured it out. So maybe it's not as hard as I thought it was. Bye, everybody. Have a happy Easter.